In this video, I'm going to talk about some things that we do early on in the van build that make sure that when everything comes together and we trim things out at the end, that the finish looks really professional. So if you're doing your own van conversion, or you've got a builder doing your conversion, or you're even thinking about a conversion, then this video is definitely for you. So let's get into it. So we're working on 3 different vans right now. We've got a Ford Transit mid-roof, medium roof. We've got a Dodge Ram ProMaster 159 extended, and then we've got a Sprinter 144. So each of these vans presents different challenges in the build because we're planning from the very beginning to make sure that all of the seams, all of the cabinetry and the trim and everything look really professionally finished when we get to the end of the van. And you've really got to start thinking about these things early on. So the first is the metal pillars in the van that are exposed. One of the main ones is the back of the van. So you can see here, what we do is we wrap it in fabric. And this is an automotive grade product. It is called Duramax, or sometimes called Marathon fabric. It has a slight 4-way stretch. It's really durable, has a coating on it so that you can spray adhesive and it doesn't bleed through. And so we use this quite a bit in the van. So what we do is we use an adhesive to spray onto the metal and adhere this to the van. Now it gets pretty tricky in these corners because although it does stretch, it doesn't stretch a lot. So when you do these, you got to be patient because it can take 2 or 3 hours to do one of these. You've got to pull this rubber trim out, and then you've got to do it in several pieces. We do one piece that goes across the top, and then we do pieces right here for this curve on each side, and then we do another piece down to the bottom. So a lot of times you'll have holes in these pillars, and we wrap those in a metal ducting tape so that it kind of gives a smooth finished look. So that's how we do the pillars in the rear of the van. And then we also wrap the pillars around the slider. You can see here we've wrapped this one. A lot of times you'll have a B pillar cover that covers this completely, but in this van it didn't have that, and so we wrapped the exposed metal part. You can see we also use the blocks that come with the van, and we wrap those to give it a nice finished look. And then our ceiling will come right into here, and you'll just see this lower part. Now, there's a new product that we've just started using, and it's only available for certain vans. It's available for, I believe, the Sprinter 144 and 170s. It's also available for the Transit high roof, and it's made by Go-Code. And what they've done is they've made these covers that you actually just screw in using holes, factory holes that are already in the van. You can see it gives a really nice, clean, finished look. And it's a lot easier than trying to wrap the pillars. You don't have to remove this rubber trim. It just pops in and you line up the screw holes. You do have to install riv nuts in some of these holes, and then you just attach them. You can order these just in a black plastic that you can wrap yourself, or if you want, you could leave that black plastic exposed. I think it looks a lot better if you wrap it in fabric, or you can actually buy it already wrapped by Go-Code. And that's what we did in this case. Now we are able to wrap, we have the materials, we have the know-how to do it, but for us it just saves so much time to just be able to pop these in, that we on this van decided to try just ordering them from Go-Code with the material already on, and I really like the way it turned out. Your wall material will just come up here and just hold that back. Sorry, the lighting's not great in here, but it looks really good, gives a really nice finished look. Now they also make covers for this pillar at the back of the slider. We have not used that one. We go ahead and just wrap that. That one's pretty easy to wrap because it doesn't have a lot of curves. And then we also wrap right across the top of the slider. And then our ceiling is going to come in, but you're still going to see the bottom of it. And so we like to have that metal not showing. And so we just think it looks better to wrap that, and then we'll wrap the blocks. Now GoCode makes a full set. They make the blocks, piece that goes across the middle, and then a piece that goes down this back pillar. So if you want a really easy way to finish this whole thing, you can order their whole kit for that as well. So here is the actual cover for the pillar that's at the rear of the slider. You can see it's like, I think it's an ABS plastic with a texture on it, and it doesn't look bad by itself if you want to use it just like this. But like I say, I think it looks better to go ahead and wrap it. So I'll just show you how this one fits in. So if we were using this, it would basically just go right in here. It would go underneath. You'd pull back that weather stripping, and it would go right underneath the weather stripping, and it would fit in right there. And then they have another piece that would go across the top and match up with our blocks at the front. So if you are looking for an easy way to do that surround around the sliding door on a Sprinter, it's a really nice way to do it. Now GoCode has given us a coupon code to share with you guys. So if you're interested in purchasing the GoCode, any of their parts, then there's a link below, and that'll take you to their website. And then you'll just be able to apply the coupon code, and you'll save 15% when you purchase any GoCode products through that link. Now here is the ProMaster, and you can see we've wrapped that as well. Okay, and it has these big plastic covers that we just went ahead and put back on over the top of the Marathon fabric. But it's really important, like I said, to do these in proper order. We do this wrap early on in the van build, because once you start putting cabinets and things in, it's really hard to get these things tucked back where you need them. So anything that's going to be wrapped, we do that in the first week or two. Now, speaking of doing things early on and the proper sequence of a van build, so that's something that I get asked a lot. When should we do this? When should we do that? What's the proper sequence of the van build? So we developed, like maybe three and a half years ago, a sequence for our van conversions. And I did a video about that, about how the order that we do things. And I had a lot of requests for that spreadsheet. And it really, I felt like, wouldn't help people because it was so specific to the way we do things. Used a lot of internal language that we use. But I had so many requests that I took some time and I went through it and kind of made it a little bit more generic and changed the terminology to things that, anybody would make sense to anybody. So we now have that spreadsheet available for download, and there's a link below in the description where you can check that out. Another question I get a lot is, where do you get your parts? What parts should I use for this and that? And so we've developed a build materials list for DIY van builders that you can also access, and there's a link below for that. And that's going to give you links to pretty much all of the products that we use in our van build. We've spent a ton of time researching and testing and trying things out to find exactly what we really like and what's the best and is going to last. And so if you'd like to check that out, there's a link below. One question I get quite a bit is about the flooring. So we do the floor really towards I wouldn't say the end, but in the latter part of the van build. We build all of our cabinetry out of extruded aluminum. You can see right here our electrical and plumbing mechanical boxes. We'll be putting our galley in here. This van has a hydronic floor. There'll be a bench here at the slider. So what we do is, once we get our mechanical boxes installed, then we go ahead and we put the flooring down. We want these mechanical boxes completely secured to the wall and to the floor, so they're not going to move, they're not going to change. And then we actually run the floor right up to these boxes. You can see the flooring comes right up to it, so these boxes are not sitting on top of the floor. And then we put our covers for the boxes. Those are sitting up on top of the floor. So if there is a little bit of a gap, those panels are going to cover that gap. So you're not going to see that. But the mechanical boxes are the only thing that we run our floor around. when it comes to the kitchen galley and benches and things like that, we actually put those on top of the floor. Now, you only want to do that if you have a floor that can handle that. So the flooring that we use is a 1/2 inch thick, super rigid. It has really strong tongue and groove that hold it in place. Some LVP flooring that is kind of flimsy and thin, like 1/4 inch, and really, really flimsy, you don't want to put anything on top of it because in the heat and cold, it'll actually buckle. This floor that we use will not do that. We get it at Floor and Decor. It's called AquaGuard. And there's a link to the ones that we use on our Google Doc, and there's a link to that doc in the description below. So there's the flooring. Because we're gonna have a bench here, we actually have this hanging out. We'll have some support, and then our bench will sit on top of that floor so that when you lift up the bench, you actually see floor and not the step. One reason we wait is so that we don't drop something or scratch or dent the flooring, but also just because there's a lot of things we do, drilling holes to run things down through. In the case of this van, running a hydronic PEX flooring system for in-floor heating. We just want to have all that exposed as long as possible so we can put it in, test it, prove it out before we cover it up with a floor. One other thing with the fit and finish that's really important is your furring strips. And I've done whole videos on how we do our furring and our walls. But basically, we want to have furring strips anywhere that wall is going to be. So where our shiplap wall is going to come right down to the top of this window. So we want our furring strip to come exactly there so that when we put our shiplap here, it's going to come right to the edge of that. Okay, it gives us a nice alignment point and wood that we can secure our shiplap to. Now, over here, we're going to have cut out for some switches and panels. And so we've done this whole thing. Sometimes we'll do a big furring strip. You can see that this is open behind this, and we're going to have our bed area pop out and be a little bit wider. And so our wall will come here, and then it'll jog in and then go over. Then right here, we'll bring a furring strip down all the way down that we can attach our shiplap to coming down here. So you really want to think through your furring strips. Because this is the first Ford Transit we've done, what we did is we cut all the furring strips, we attached them with screws, we put them in place, put all our cabinetry up, made sure that everything was exactly how we wanted it. And then we pulled it all out, glued it with marine adhesive, and then screwed it back in. And the marine adhesive really ensures that you're not going to have squeaks and rattles, which is super important in a van build. So hopefully this video helped you in your van conversion to help you understand the best way to get a really tight fit and finish on your van. If you want to see more videos about how we do our van builds, about van products, about van life, then we invite you to subscribe and be sure to smash that like button. We'll also be doing an upcoming video on a comparison between the Transit, the ProMaster, and the Sprinter. So be sure to subscribe if you want to check out that video. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Jeff with Thrive Vans, Thrive On. See ya.